I wish there was a way to see the number of people who die as a result of men's egos, their overconfidence, their grandiosity, because I love this comment. Thank you for that. It was left on the video where I'm talking about, dads putting their kids in danger all the time. And I will never shut up about that. Somebody who literally worked on whitewater and skiing and all these outdoor sports, especially whitewater rafting, what I saw my coworkers doing and how little a lot of them, not all, some of my male coworkers were very responsible, but a lot of them were terrifying. They have no respect for human life and don't even think things through. They literally are so obsessed with impressing each other so much, impressing other men, basically. And even if they're trying to impress women, it's literally for validation of men. They have a death wish. They want so bad to be a hero of any story. They want to be a hero so bad that they will put people in danger regularly, either to save them, just because they're bored. And I'm so sick of it, and I will never stop talking about it. But this comment is about the workplace, other workplaces. But it is just laughable that men are protectors of, in any case, fathers are not protectors. Men at work are definitely not protectors. They can be, but most of them will not deal with their ego and their patriarchal conditioning, that entitlement and that selfishness and their lack of consideration of anyone but themselves. And they put other people in danger regularly, and they don't care. And that's the point. So this, hi, I'm an RN. I go head to head with overconfident male MDs all the time because I can see the safety and liability problems that they don't. And I would argue that this is in any industry. We see it in tech. We're living that nightmare right now. Get on these platforms. We see it when the driving apps, Uber. How many women had to be kidnapped or assaulted before they're like, oh, maybe we should do background check. Where any woman would have known immediately how much danger the most vulnerable are in any scenario, right? Mothers always, not all mothers, because some mothers put their kids in more danger, especially when they are male-centered. But at least, someone who cared, they would understand that, these platforms are dangerous for kids. AI and all of this is going to be the most dangerous for the people who are the most marginalized, the people who are the most vulnerable. So we have our job. We have been conditioned our whole lives to consider all this stuff, to see things play out 5, 6, 7, 8 steps ahead. That's why men can't keep up with us. They first start to get awareness of this stuff. They still are overconfident. Even when they know that their overconfidence is the problem, they still do it. I've seen it in real time in my personal life with men who are really working on this stuff. They still don't quite see the 2 or 3 steps ahead of them that I already am, even though they're like 5 steps ahead of the average man. So men make terrible leaders, because most of them do not have the empathy, the thoughtfulness, humility, and the confidence that it requires to be a good leader. Someone who's thoughtful, who takes care of everybody, who makes sure that their needs, emotional, physical, all of those needs are met. They can pay attention to group dynamic. When I was in the outdoors, I constantly saw when something was going to happen because of something happening between people, and I was like, oh, these two need to be we nip that in the bud way before men. And then all of a sudden they're like, whoa! The hubris, the overconfidence, the not listening to us, not trusting us, and literally thinking they are the smartest people in the world, when most of us have more experience and education than them half the time. They just have more jobs and stuff just because of privilege. The more privilege you have, the easier it is to get those jobs. So as a woman, definitely not listening to me because I'm a white woman. They may listen to me more. Maybe they'll listen to me more because of my looks, my age, or maybe they listen to me less. When I was younger, I didn't get taken seriously. Now that I'm 47, still don't get taken seriously. But at least I have the confidence to not care what they think. Thank God, by now. It's taken years, decades for me to get to that place where I really don't care what men think. I love that for me. But the problem is they care what men think. They care so much. Their ego is so fragile because they will not do the work of gaining real confidence. Oh, that thing is in my face. Real confidence. Confidence comes from experience. Confidence comes from working on yourself. Confidence comes from showing up in relationships and challenging yourselves regularly. And a lot of these men, they don't actually challenge themselves in a healthy way. They'll do stuff that's super masochistic to prove that they're a big, strong boy. Or, they can be competitive. When it comes to standing up to another man who's, harassing somebody or, whatever, or putting their ego aside to do what's best for the patient in this case, or the group, or the person in the river. And raft guy, these men would throw people in the water regularly, literally purposely flip their boats. And they call it carnage. And they laugh about it. One of the pastimes of a lot of raft guys is to sit around and watch carnage videos. And the women, we join in on it and laugh and whatever because it's part of the boys club. But I just remember feeling not right about that. Someone literally died my first day on the Rio Grande in a private accident, and we were the first one to get there. And I saw firsthand. I was like, oh man, ain't no way I'm messing around on this river. So what did I become? I was kind of like a paranoid, stick in the mud. I was like a drill sergeant. I taught them in those first 10 minutes on the water before we hit the real rapids. I was such a bitch. You know what? I only flipped twice. I only flipped my boat twice in 6 years because I would much rather not die or not live with the weight of knowing someone died on my raft where it was technically my fault or not. I knew I could never live with that. I could barely watch it happen for someone else. I don't know if I'll ever get over that first day on the river. In one of my last year, 2 people died in another company raft. For me, the weight of that responsibility was so big and it was so stressful that it made the job not fun because I always knew this water could kill us all. Yet I had to fight men in my boats, dads especially, for control of the boat because even though they have never been rafting before or maybe they've gone once, they always seem to think that they know how to do it, where the boat should go, what we should do for fun than me. Not all of them. Some of them are great. I hated working with the Boy Scouts, loved working with the Scouts, hated the Scout leader because most of those men were the most misogynistic men who just could not handle a woman knowing more than them in front of all those boys. I'm sorry, I will not trust men over my own judgment in literally anything unless they have proof that they know what they're doing and they're at least listening to me and are humble enough. I will always default to my own opinion because I have gotten almost harmed and almost died too many times by trusting that a man, just because he's confident, knows more than me, and usually they do not. I am telling y'all, they don't know what they're doing. They don't respect human life. They have been taught not to respect human life. They really have not been taught to respect human life on the same level that we have. That's just because of patriarchal conditioning. Here's the thing, they can unlearn, and a lot of them are. And in fact, our lives depend on this right now because the men who are in charge right now have more power, but they're just like all of these men who just don't care. It's like a sick game to them. Them versus themselves or them versus the world than all of us. And part of that is also just the individualistic mindset that is very, very big in the U.S. especially, but in the West, and that's tied to white supremacy culture and capitalism and all that stuff. Well, no one will ever convince me that men are not the biggest threat at work, in the community, in your home, literally, especially in the wilderness. The only other threat that's just as big as are the women who enable them and center and screw over everybody for proximity to that power, sometimes involve screwing everybody vouch for that man, participating in that cycle of violence. Also, we know that cool girls, ask anybody who works in an industry, sometimes the women are just as bad as the men, or sometimes they're worse because they're so pissed that they've been crapped on and they had to work so hard to get there that they got more to prove, especially if they're in charge of vulnerable populations. Like a lot of times teachers, nurses, mothers sometimes take out on their own family members or their patients or their students the violence of the men above them. I believe that one of the things that women have to do right now or continue to do and do deeper and deeper work with, because it's only women who are listening to me generally. There's some men who follow me. Good for you. Good. Thank you for shutting up, just listening. What we have to do is stop believing that they know more than us, that they're going to save us, they can be trusted over us. They can't. And to stop putting other people in danger, including sometimes our own children, in danger to, coddle the ego of a big baby who needs constant reassurance and validation because he needs to be the king of the castle that he did not work hard for to get, doesn't deserve, and doesn't even care about the people in it with him. No, thank you. Only men I listen to are the men who have proven over a long period of time that they are humble, confident, not cocky. They're super emotionally intelligent, thoughtful. They listen to women and the most vulnerable people in every situation. Assume that those people might know more than them. Those are the only men I will ever listen to. The rest of them can just go fork off. I don't want to die. And I'm tired of women and children especially dying. Women are great leaders anywhere, 'cause they're not always making you almost die. Leaders on the river. Leaders in boats and rapids. Leaders, we're great leaders. Because we think about not wanting to die all the time. Leaders, and when we do dangerous stuff, we're still safe and use ropes. We build stuff with our own hands. We go places alone, but we wear helmets. And we do stuff that's dangerous sometimes, but with a lot of forethought. We don't trust men to lead us anywhere. We mow our own lawn. We can do whatever we want because men are terrible leaders with the death wish. Get dirty, go do stuff. Doesn't have to be climbing, it could be anything but leader. You're a leader. Men aren't such great leaders unless they have emotional intelligence and are thoughtful. Yeah, leader, you're a leader. Go lead some stuff. Lead yourself away from the man who's gonna kill you. And stop trusting their instinct because they don't have anything other than to die. Because they hate themselves. Leader, you're a leader. I'm a leader. We're leaders. But you know who's not? Men.
Unless they have a lot of emotional intelligence and have proven over a long period of time that they can be trusted.